And let's just talk to Conservative Party Chairman Richard Holden, who joins us now. Good to see you this morning. What a disappointing night for the Conservatives.
Yes, no, a disappointing result for us this evening, and then overnight. Obviously, I want to see us win every election possible. Yes, I know our candidates, fought really hard during the campaign, but a disappointing result overnight.
I wanted to ask you about the really safe seat of Wellingborough and the choice of candidate there. The girlfriend of the disgraced former MP, Peter Bone. Do you regret that decision to choose her as your candidate? Because it looks as though, really, the Tories didn't care.
Well, I think, actually, in the end, we're a democratic organisation, and the local people, the local members there, made that selection. She got 70% in their first round of their selection for that result. It's their choice at the end of the day in the final analysis who's our candidate. But the results were disappointing, but I suppose also quite different between the two by-elections as well. I think Kingswood was very narrow victory for Labour, certainly when they last held it. Back in the mid-2000s, they're holding it by a 6,500 majority. So it's not fantastic results for us.
I mean, what's interesting in all of this is reform, isn't it? Because, I mean, certainly you look at Kingswood. If reform didn't exist, you'd have held on to that seat by 100 and something votes. It would have been very tight, but you would have held it. What are you going to do to combat reform?
I think it's quite a disappointing result for reform. I always remember being back on the by-election campaigns with reform's predecessor UKIP back in the 2010s. When they're in Rochester or in Clacton, they were getting 45-50% of the vote in some of these by-elections with with better turnouts than these ones. So I'd say on that, if you're polling 10% on a 35% turnout, I think and also the assumption you're making in your question is that everybody who voted for them came from the Conservative side of things. I'm not sure that's strictly true either. So, disappointing results for us overnight.
Well, surely alarm bells are going to be ringing in Tory high command today. Do you think there'll be questions again about Rishi Sunak's leadership?
Well, I think this is a symptom of we've got two two by-elections in difficult circumstances. One where an MP has stepped down a few months before a general election. Another where an MP has been forced out. I think the circumstances of both of these by-elections are certainly not ideal for us. But I think we've put up a good fight with some good candidates, and you can see the quite different results there between Kingswood and Wellingborough as well.
What though? A lot of people will look at this and go, "Why is the government limping on? Call an election."
Well, I think the last thing the people of Kingswood, for example, or Wellingborough wanted was to have another election. We saw that even in the recall petition in Wellingborough only got 13% support.
Well, they might not want another election, but the country probably does.
Well, I mean, by-elections are an opportunity for people to, they know they're not changing the government of the country during that period. It's pretty clear at the moment. We've seen over the last week or 10 days that Labour have no plan for the country. We've seen Keir Starmer's not even managed to really change his party with all the issues we've seen from them. They've not got a policy background there in place at the moment. They've U-turned on all of their major policy pledges, although they're sticking to the outcomes, just not telling us how much they're going to spend. I think there's a good while to go before a general election yet, and I'm sure all of these issues will be thrashed out over the next few months.